Howdy y'all, I am Ice Gold, and I wanted to talk about something for today's video that was a really cool game mechanic way back in the day. And when I say way back in the day, I mean 2019 and 2020, and it hasn't really been seen around since then. And I am talking, of course, about set bonuses, which is why I'm on my fire today, because there's a certain set bonus that I can tell you about that really made the fire meta setup for so long. And I am talking, of course, about the Primeval Horde Pack set bonus, and I'm sure I can show you at some point what was going on for that. But the main thing that I wanted to talk about is why, where have they been, and why haven't we seen set bonuses since around 2020 when Caramel came out? Or actually, I think it might have extended a little more into 2021. If I'm not mistaken, I think there were some bundles that came out in 2021, but that was the last time we ever saw any of it. So, to I guess talk a little bit about just how set bonuses worked, let me go to my guild house and pull my stuff out of my bank. So, the Dragoon gear was the first set bonus that we saw. We saw things like people running multiple pieces of specific gear to get more damage and more benefits. Like, I've got 3 pieces of Dragoon gear on right now. I've got the hat, I've got the boots, and I've got the amulet on. And these pieces of gear, these 3, if we right click here, it'll say Dragoon's Fiery set bonus applied. So we can look here and we can look at the adjustments, and this will tell us what all was on the set bonus. And people like to run 3-piece because it would give 6% accuracy to your school if you had 2 pieces, and it would also give 7% damage to fire. And then these did vary by school, so it was 6% accuracy for fire and 7% damage for fire, as well as 140 pip conversion. And this is for 3 pieces. And when you were already looking at, the best hat back then in 2019, 2020, and the best boots back then, by far, I mean, these boots, the fact that these boots are a thing that exists is still pretty crazy, but yeah, you get the idea. And then the amulet was also something that people wanted to go get. There weren't these, newfangled circle jewels on amulets yet. Usually it was just like a tier and a square, or 2 squares, or a tier and 2 squares in the rat amulets case. But this was the best amulet back then because the item card it gave did more than a meteor strike for the same amount of pips. And so most everybody back in those days, even when Caramel was around, and maybe even through parts of Lemuria, people would use the Dragoon hat, boots, and amulet to get an extra, 7% damage for fire and 6% accuracy. And this general setup allowed fires to be able to use stuff like the Dragoon Ring, which I wish I had on this character, but I don't. And the Dragoon Ring did not give any pip chance like you see things like the Reaver Ring give, and the Skyfarer Ring. So people would run these rings that gave the most damage by a little bit, because, the Alpha and Omega Ring, it gave 10 damage, but it just didn't quite give the 12, 13-ish that you would see from things like the Fire Dragoon Ring. And people wanted that extra 3% damage, and now that they could dedicate 2 triangle slots to, Power Pip Chance, I don't actually think I have any that I socketed Power Pip Chance on, but you get the idea. It's like people would socket 20% Power Pip Chance jewels on their triangle sockets on their Athame deck, and that was how they would make up for drop in stats. And they would, back in the day, fire could run 175 damage, I think it was, with 100% critical rating, back before it became, just all convoluted like it is now. And that was something that people really wanted to go for, because you could have max accuracy, you could have perfect critical, and you could have the highest damage that you can get with perfect critical. And having the, these stats like pip chance being at least 100 and accuracy being at least 30 for fire back then, that was required if you wanted to not fizzle and never pip fail. And things like the set bonus made that possible, because like I was saying, you might be able to get to, let's say, 25% accuracy without the set bonus and all the gear pieces, but once you had the set bonus, you would be able to get up to 31, and that would be perfect for like not being able to fizzle and all that. And so that is something that people really just went for, and set bonuses were a big part of the game's max level gear setups back in the day. And I had a video from way back, back during the Julo era, where I talked about how set bonuses might be going a little too far, because the Dragoon set bonus was a nice little start. It didn't give anything too groundbreaking. It'll give you some extra piece surf, some damage, some accuracy, all good stats, and then you could, go all in and run like 5 pieces for extra pip chance and all that. But the Froggys set bonus came out in 2020 with the Primeval Horde pack, and okay, Aaron Anglebane here, he probably has it. So this is a life Froggys, and if like he has the corresponding Bronto. So if you look at this, if you had like, and this is a whole part of that video that I made 4 years ago, but pets and mounts started becoming parts of set bonuses. And when pets and mounts started becoming parts of set bonuses, that was when things sort of started to become a problem, because pets and mounts inherently, or pets at least, for the most part, with the exception of like the armored skeleton, didn't give any innate stat bonuses, and mounts gave minuscule ones, with things like the rock giving pip chance and the Gultress giving some damage. But the two never really gave anything monumental, until, of course, this set bonus came out. And I'm glad that Aaron here has the fire one specifically, because if you had a quint damage Froggys and you had the Stompy Bronto mount, which he has here, you could, for free, get an extra 8 damage tacked onto your damage stat. And this is really good, because for 2 pieces you can get all this, and that was back during Dragoon being meta as well. And that was how people would get to the 175 damage with max crit that I had mentioned before, because people would run the 3-piece Dragoon set with the hat, boots, and amulet, and they would get their 7 extra damage from that and their 6 accuracy, and then they would get another 8 damage from their set bonus, which was a total of 15 damage for free while being able to run max crit. And that was a little overpowered. You still see this persist today. Aaron is running the setup so he can get another 5 damage tacked on, because this one is the universal one that gives 5% more damage to everybody. And yeah, you still see this set bonus persist today. I actually got the idea to make this video because I was talking to somebody in my comment section about how like they could lend me a quint damage Froggys if I needed one, and I told them, I don't have multiple steak dinners worth of cash to spend trying to get this mount that Aaron has, because this is the second part that I would need to be able to retain max stats. And just generally, it's like these 2 pieces are pieces that never really gave innate stats just on their own. Pets give a lot of stats, but you make those yourself, and then mounts are mounts. Nowadays, I am pretty sure that like a Storm at least could push 300 damage if there wasn't a cap, and they had a quint damage Froggys with thinking cap, and they had their corresponding Bronto mount. It gives slightly less than the Fire's set bonus, but Storm's gear nowadays gives much more than Fire's, which was not the case back then. What I'm trying to get at is that set bonuses became very overpowered back in the day, and people were having to spend a lot of money on packs to be able to get them. And it started out nicely with the Dragoon set bonus, like I mentioned, but as soon as pets and mounts got involved, that was when things became a bit of a problem. There was a time, I think, after I quit the first time, where people were running the Road Warriors set bonus, where they would use like a specific pet from the Road Warriors Horde pack, as well as a wand, to get 3 extra resistance for free. In a meta where, you know, we don't have the type of pierce that we have today. Like fire can go all the way up to 68 today, but they couldn't back then. They definitely couldn't back then. And there were still only 3 circle jewels back then, and it was a whole thing. So just getting extra stats for free, just off of things like pets and mounts, it was not something that people really like to see. And people were sort of glad when set bonuses sort of went away. Some people were, at least, because, you know, that was less money you had to spend on packs and whatnot. So why did they get removed? And this is going to be a short segment, because the very short answer is the person responsible for making the set bonuses apparently left the company at some point in 2021, and as a result, we haven't seen set bonuses since. So, for the next segment, that'll be slightly longer, is could set bonuses come back in today's age? And I think they could, as long as they just stuck to pieces of gear that already gave damage and that sort of deal. If they wanted to make a damage-based set bonus, and they could really do a lot more than just damage with set bonuses. Like, for example, if I were to run if I wanted to run like a Dream Reaver set bonus, I couldn't right now because I have the Eon hat, and I would have to go for the Reaver hat if I wanted to get, say, you know, 5% more damage from the Reaver set bonus. And that would encourage people to farm, and that would be just a good thing to do. Because the less spending that the game requires, the better, in my honest opinion. And, you know, we already had to... It's like people spent a lot on their Frillosaurs and Brontos back in the day. I never did, because I always thought it was a scam. And then once the damage cap came out, it really became a scam. But I think that if they were to make set bonuses a thing today, it would go over a lot better if they held themselves to some sort of code where, you know, like you could run multiple pieces of the same set. Like the Reaver hat, the Reaver boots, the Reaver wand, for example, could give like each school's, I guess, specific stat. So if fire were to run those 3 pieces at 3 for a set bonus, it could give, like, let's say 5 more pierce. And if an ice were to run the same, maybe that could give an ice maybe some extra, like, I don't want to say giving too much resist, because a stat bonus given resist is already an issue. But in ice's case, I think like we could get away with getting 2 or 3 more resist if we had 3 pieces of Reaver gear on, or maybe even Stalker gear could be what gives that for ice. And I think it would be really great if set bonuses were to come back if they were executed correctly. It's just executing them correctly is the whole problem, because as we saw here, this set bonus is just a problem. It's like a pet and a mount should not be 2 pieces that count for a set bonus when you could already make a set bonus with all these other things. It's like, because there's already so many Reaver pieces, it's like people could run a Reaver piece here, 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 and a Reaver piece here. That's like 6, and like a nullity robe here. And you would already have like 6 pieces of the same set. So that on top of extra set bonuses coming from like pets and mounts, let's avoid that. So yeah. Anyway, I rambled for long enough. Thank y'all for watching. I've been Ice Cold. Be sure to like, subscribe, and leave 50 comments for the algorithm. My Discord's down in the description if you want to chat with me some more, and I will see y'all later.